Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another session with Amen Fine. Today, we are going to be looking at an issue that a lot of men are facing, and is a challenge that I've noticed with most of the men I've been relating with, and I think it's critical that men know how to address this. Now, yesterday I had a birthday for my little girl, and a lot of women attended the party, and as we were just discussing, I found out that more than 80% of the women who came had issues with their husband, which the men did not even know about. Now, I was wondering to myself, how come these women are passing through these serious challenges with their husband, and most men don't even know that there was such a problem in their family? And it dawned on me that most family failures that we are facing are because of some of these things that women are seeing in their men, and they are wishing that their men will change, and most men don't even know that their women are desiring these things from them. So those are the things I want to address today, because I think they are the core of running a very sustainable marriage. And I also want to use this opportunity to invite the men watching this program to my annual seminar called The Lessons of the Business of Marriage. You know, last year I started a series which I called The Lessons I Learned from the Business of Marriage, because as at last year was my 5th wedding anniversary. That was 2014, and at the end of 2014 I sat down and analyzed the lessons I had learned being married for 5 years. And after doing that, I put up the video, and I was amazed at the number of comments that people were getting back to me, and the number of downloads people were downloading this message. And I realized that men really needed to understand how to run their marriages more like a business, more like a profitable business, so that they can learn how to increase the gains of the business and know how to minimize the losses in their business. So for those of you who would like to attend, the seminar for this is coming up in February, and for those of us, very soon we'll be sending out more adverts. And for those of you who want to register, you can send us an email on corporatecounselor@gmail.com or call me on 080232171, 08023622171. Now, coming back to the business of the day, how to address the challenges that women are having with their husband, that which husband don't know. You know, today I was listening to T.D. Jakes, and he was saying something about Esau and about Cain and Abel. Now, as he was saying, just giving his sermon, something just hit me. He mentioned that when Eve was naming her son, and something occurred to me, that Eve named her son Cain and said, "Now God has given me a man." And I started to think about this. How come this woman is calling her first son the man of her life? What happened to her husband? It now dawned on me that because of certain things that happened in the course of her relationship with her husband, Adam, that this woman no longer saw Adam as the man of her life. That he started to look up to God to give her somebody who she could regard as a man. And it now hit me that a lot of women in marriages are no longer seeing the men in their life as the man of their life. It means that these women, even if they are not cheating on their husband, have started to look outside for a man in their life. So what I want to address today are some of the mistakes I think that Adam made, that some of us as men must need to start to make adjustments before we start to force our wives to start to look for other men in their life. Now, I want us to understand this, because I think these are critical, where in a critical time whereby the divorce rate has suddenly gone up. In fact, in Nigeria, that is regarded as a conservative country, in the past 3 to 5 years, the divorce rate has gone up by more than 50%. It means that a lot of marriages are passing through stress. And even for those who are still staying in their marriages, I was recently with a group of young men, and one man said something. He said that it's better for a man to have business problem than for him to have marital problem. And the more I thought about it, and the more I realized that Once a man has a marital problem, it will automatically affect every aspect of his life. So today, let's look at the mistake that Adam made so that we can learn to avoid them. We can learn to know how to manage our families very well so that we will still remain the man in the life of our wives. So, I'll be titling today's talk, Becoming the Husband of Our Dreams. Meaning that, what are the things you need to do to become the husband of your wife's dreams? The man she envisages anytime she goes to bed, the man that comes up in her dream. What are the things you need to do for you to remain that man in her dreams? Now, the first thing that I want every one of us to start to do is you need to start to lead your wife to God. You know something? If you read the Bible, you realize that when God brought Eve to Adam, and he said, "This is the bone of my bone, the flesh of my flesh, and she'll be called woman." That after that one, he never took her back to meet with God. In fact, the next thing we heard was God, the devil showing up. It means that you must be the prophet and the priest of your family. You must actively lead your family to church. You must actively lead your family in prayers. You know, if you go to most churches now, you find out that close to 70% of those who attend are the women. Now ask yourself, where are the men? Where are the husbands of these women? Where are the men in their lives? Now, how do you expect to run a sustainable marriage, sustainable relationship, when you are not the one leading your family in the spiritual direction? If you lose track of the spiritual angle of your marriage, there is no way you can sustain the physical aspect, because it's the spiritual that drives the physical. And it's only when you can lead your wife in the spiritual dimension, that is when she will expect you to lead her in the physical dimension. So for those of you who at least have not been going to church with their family, get back on track now. Start to lead your family back to God. Start to lead your wife, your children back to God. Be the person that calls them out to prayer every evening. Be the person that leads the prayer every morning. This can create a wonderful meaning. This can make the woman start to look up to you again as the man that she wants to see be in her life. Now, the next thing too that we'll also notice about Adam that he did was, after he said, "This is the bone of my bone, the flesh of my flesh, should be called woman," we never heard Adam say anything to that woman again. The next thing we find again was the woman discussing with the serpent. It means that communication is very critical. If you don't talk to the woman in your life, you don't talk to your wife, somebody else will start to talk to her. If Adam had been in a deep conversation with his wife, the serpent would not have had any opportunity to discuss with this woman. A lot of men are having difficulty in this particular area. Most of them don't bother to discuss with their wife to find out how the day of their wife was. One of the key things I've realized is that, you know, in the early years of my marriage, one of the things my wife used to say is that I no longer talk to her. The more I discuss, I analyze this, I came to realize that talking to a woman is very critical for her. And what I did was, because I'm more of a quiet person, what I did was to deploy the questioning technique. So what I do is that every hour, how was your day? What did you do in school today? I kept asking her question, and she just kept talking. I found out that drew us closer. That kind of created a bond between us. You must learn to start to talk to the woman in your life. Start to ask her about her day. Start to tell her about your day. Tell her about things that interest you. Ask her about things that interest her. The more you communicate, communication is the backbone of every relationship. If you don't communicate with your wife, you cannot at least ask yourself, how many minutes in a day did I actively discuss with my wife? Not just sending her on errand. Actively discuss with her, actively chat with her. If you cannot at least count up to 2 hours in a day, it means that your marriage is running into a serious problem. You need to start to actively talk with your wife. You need to start to discuss with her. Talking is very important. Because Adam did not talk with his wife, the serpent saw an opportunity. He saw a woman who was just sitting on her own, doing nothing. Do you realize that the day that the serpent came to discuss with Eve, that Adam was actually there? Now, how can you be there and you're not talking with your wife and you don't expect somebody else to start to talk with her? Because we know that he was there, because after she ate the fruit, she gave it to him. It's important for you to talk to your wife as much as possible, because if you don't talk to her, other people will talk to her. And I can show you that you won't be happy with what they will be telling her. The next point also that I want you to learn to do is that you need to be firm in critical matters. You know, one of the mistakes that Adam made was when this woman, the serpent, started to talk with his wife and started to lead her in a direction that was getting too dangerous. He should have stepped in and said, "Where are you? Get out of here." A lot of men find it difficult to step in at a critical point when their wife is getting out of track and when somebody or something is leading their wife into a dangerous path. It's important for you to learn to be firm in certain situations. Because there's something I've realized about women. You know, there was at some point that my wife would come to me and say, "I want to do this." I said, "Okay, now do it." But later on, she will still come and complain that, "Imagine I did this thing and you need..." It dawned on me that she wanted me to take a stand at that particular point. Though she said that she wanted to do this thing, she wanted me to take a stand and say, "No, don't do this." Women want somebody who will be firm in certain critical decision-making time, so that they can know that, yeah, this person can lead me at the point that is very important for a leader to stand up. You should look at things that you know that can derail your family, these things that you know that can cut off your the wonderful relationship you have with your wife. You need to learn to be firm, even if it means hurting the feeling for other people involved, hurting the feeling even of your wife at that particular moment. But if you know that this thing will cause problem, stand up and be firm about it. Probably because the serpent was very wise, Adam was considering, what will maybe I will hurt his feeling if I say something now. I can tell you that there are situations that you must learn to stand up and say, "Hey, you, get out of my house." If you look at certain situations, certain relationships in the life of your wife that are dragging her in the direction you want to, talk to that person, say, "You, I don't want to see you in my house anymore." Let that cause the problem for you at that particular moment, but know that, yes, you've cut off a chain of relationship that can drag your wife that can destroy your future, your relationship in future. You need to do something like, you need to learn to be firm in the relationship. The next thing also you need to get to do was start to get your wife involved in your job. See, Eve was created to be a helper for Adam. Now, because Adam did not give her any assignment, that was why she could sit down idle and the devil will show up. It's important for you to get your wife involved in whatever you do. You know, almost every day when I come back, I tell my wife the clients I've got, the businesses, the challenges I'm facing, the progress in my business. She gets to know the new clients I make, the old one, how we are progressing in it. And when I'm dressed up to go out, she looks at me and says, "No, you need to change this. This attire wouldn't fit to the thing that you are going to do. You don't wear this color of tie with this kind of top." She gets involved with my business. That way, her job of being my helper is being fulfilled. That way, she has something to do. Because assuming Adam asks Eve to, "Okay, go and check what the lion is doing. Go and check if the bird I just delivered is taking care of the cub." She will not have had time to sit down to listen to the serpent. It's because he did not really give her the assignment that God sent this woman to do for him. That was why Eve could be tempted by this devil. Don't just come back and shut down your work away from your wife. Get her actively involved. I'm not asking you to come for her to come to your office to do the things, but actively get her involved in what you do. Because the more you do this, the more active she will, the more her mind will get off things that would have distracted her, things that would have tempted her to start to be the woman that you do not want to marry. So get her involved in your job. And the next point too is get her a job and make her very productive. One of the things that, especially men who have wives and put them as housewives, do not know is that the idle man, a housewife who is in the house doing nothing, you are creating an ideal situation for the devil to step in. As much as possible, learn to get a job for your wife. Even if not a job, get her productive. Even if she stays in the house, get her to start to run some online courses. I can tell you that this is a critical aspect that is important for every man. I see a lot of men who keep their wife as housewives doing nothing, and I tell myself, this is a kettle of bomb waiting to explode. There's no way that woman will appreciate you if all she does is in the morning, she just sits from the morning to the close of work, takes care of the children, and there's nothing to challenge her brain. It's your job as the man to get her brain mentally active. Get her active and you'll be amazed at how productive, how useful she'll be to you and to yourself. But most importantly, when she's active, when her mind is working, then those distractions that were tempted her and make her to have regard for you would have been cut off. If Adam had given his wife a job, if he had made her more productive, she wouldn't have been sitting beside that tree. Do something about your job. Even if your wife is working, make her more productive. Find a way of increasing the knowledge, her knowledge base. Get her to run courses. Get her to, recently I got my wife to run some series of online courses. Every month she runs a new set. That way she's maintaining her vitality. Her brain is she's more productive in what she does, and she's more useful. And that way, things that would have distracted her, things that would have taken attention of the family, the time that she should have used to do those things, she's using them to become more productive for herself. You too also need to do that for your wife. Now, the next also important point is take her away from the touchline. Warren Buffett was trying to explain his investment principle. He said he invests more like a footballer. That if a footballer is playing during a football game, that if he tries to focus on playing in the center of the field, yes, in the center of the field might be more congested. He might easily lose the ball in the center of the field, but he knows that the ball at the center of the field will not drift out. That a lot of people see opportunities at the edges of the market, and when they prove it, before they know it, they go offline. The point I'm trying to make is that if Adam had taken his wife away from that tree, for Christ's sake, this man was living in a massive garden. What was he doing staying with his wife close to the apple tree or close to the fruit that God asked him not to stay with? He had a massive places to stay. If he had known that this was trouble zone and he has kept his wife away from that distance, there was no way the temptation, the devil could have pointed out to the woman and says, look at this apple. It was because he was close to that place. You need to look at your environment and ask yourself, what are the things that can possibly tempt my family and make them have less regard for me or put them away from me? If it's relationship with certain people, if the kind of job they do, if the kind of relationship they keep, if it's the kind of, look at your life and start to cut out your family from those things. Move them away from those touchline situations. Move them to the center of the field, so that if anything happens, they don't easily go, the ball doesn't go, your marriage situation doesn't go offline. It's important to avoid, as much as possible, keep your family away from things that can tempt them. Keep your wife and your children away from things that can make them, anything that can make them fall. It's important because Adam did not realize this. And because he did not realize this, he left his wife to sit beside a tree of the fruit of the tree that God asked them not to see. And the devil could easily come and point, see, look at this fruit. Imagine he had built his house about 10 kilometers away from that tree. Do you know what it would take for the devil to tell them, say, you remember that tree? Because she could not see it, then it would be difficult for her to even think of going to eat it. But because they were staying beside that tree, living by the dangerous touchline, that was why they could easily fall. You too also need to look at the touchline situation in your life. Look at those trees, those dangerous trees that you are looking, that your wife or you are living around, and start to move them out. Look at the program that you are watching. Look at the program that your families are watching, that you know that this thing can destroy your family. Start to cut off those programs. It's important you start to do these things to save your family, so that you can remain the man that God has given to your wife. Now, the next thing also, the next point for you to remain the man that God has given to your wife is, once you notice a bad influencer around her, kick that person out immediately. The moment that Adam saw the serpent start to make certain discussion, what he should have done was to kick the serpent out of that vicinity immediately. He was the leader, he was the person in charge, and he could have said, hey, you, get out of here. But he kept quiet. There are certain things that you would have seen that, or certain people who are coming around your wife who you see are having very bad influence of her. Your job is to kick them out immediately. Do not waste time with this. Because if Adam had told the devil, the serpent, get out of this situation, get out of this area, then the situation that led to his fall would never have arisen. You too must learn to tell people who are you say has becoming bad influence on your wife, say, get out of this place. The next thing also you need to do is, as a man, start to reduce the burden on your wife. I find a lot of people, you know, leaving a lot of chores in the house for their wife. Now you might say, how does this apply to Eve? Adam was there relaxing, and Eve was probably around the tree going round. Because he did not take any interest to help her in whatever she was doing, the devil came in and filled up that void. As much as possible, don't just allow your wife to be the person doing things for you. You too must learn to start to do things for your wife. Start to help her out. You know, like I was saying, we just had a birthday for my child, and we had a birthday yesterday, and as usual, after every party, there was, you know, stocks of dirty plates, dirty dishes, dirty spoon, dirty pots, and this was left till this morning. And we just came back from church, and I immediately, when we came back to church, I rolled up my sleeve, pulled out my dress, and started to wash. I just finished washing those plates and those dishes before I started to do this program. It's important for you to, because see, this woman had been the person cooking throughout yesterday, preparing everything for the party, running around, and the least I can do is to lessen this extra burden on her. You too need to start to lessen the burden on your wife. You know, every morning I wake up by 5:30 to help in preparing the children for school, so that she too can take time to prepare herself. This is the job of every man to lessen the burden on her wife, because if you don't, they will find a way, somebody else to shift some of those burdens to. And you never can tell who that person will be. Because Adam did not come in to help his wife out, Eve started to take some of her emotional burdens to the serpent. And that way, more probably she has been having this mental agony. Why are we not eating this thing? Why? But because the husband was not there to talk with her and to also find a way of lessening this burden or mental burden for her, the devil could easily step in to do that job for him. You also need to start to actively help your wife in the house, because this is very critical. Now, the next point is you also must start as a man to work on your confidence level. Because if Adam was a confident man, he could have stood up and stood at the devil and said, "Get out of here." A lot of men watch things going wrong in their family because they have failed to work on their confidence level. They lack the confidence to stand up and put certain checks in place. You must learn to work on your confidence as a person. You need to start to attend seminars. Attend seminars that to boost you. Start to read books as much as possible. Watch videos on how to boost confidence. You know, I'm currently working on a book on building your confidence. And also, I also have a video on this my Facebook page, Rich Nigerian Mentor, which has to do with how to build your confidence. So look at the other videos in this channel on my Facebook page, and look at the one that has to do with confidence. So watch all the videos there. You find the one, especially those, I think look at the number of views there. I think the views there is about 15,000. Look at the one with the view. You see the one that people have watched so much, and watch those ones. That one will, at least it will be a guide on how you can boost your confidence as a man. It's important for you to be very confident. It's when you work with confidence that certain people will avoid your family. It's when you can act with confidence that your wife too can be proud of you at any particular point. But when you are not so confident, she cannot look at you and be proud of you. She cannot look at you and say, "This is the man of my life," or "This is the man that God has given me." You must build your own personal confidence. And also start to attend relationship seminars. I can tell you that if Adam had not been in marriage before, and what he could have done after he was created, when God gave him the woman, was go and sit down with God and say, "Guy, I don't know how to run this business of marriage. Teach me. What are the things I need to do? How do I go about this?" But after he was just given the woman, he felt he could run it, and he just went up on his own, and he crashed that marriage. You as a man need to attend marriage seminar. That is why I say we are coming up with a seminar called The Lessons of the Business of Marriage. What the business of marriage has taught me. I want every man listening to this to attend this seminar. It's important, it's very important. We fixed tentatively the 13th of February for that of this year, of 2016. I want you to attend this seminar so that you can at least come and hear how men have overcome certain challenges that you might be facing, and also look at yourself. Also analyze, you know, every business does what is called annual return. At the end of every annual, have their own AGM, annual general meetings, the end of their financial year. You know, I want to set 13th of February as the end of a financial year, so that you can start from, okay, from 13th of February of 2015 to 13th of February of 2016, what are the gains I've made in my marriage? What are the losses there? How do I improve? Then also listen to other people's annual report too, and you learn from them, so that you can now say, okay, from 13th of February of 2016 to 13th of February 2017, these are the changes I need to do. These are how I need to move forward. It's important for you to start to attend marriage seminars. So I'm inviting you for this. Like I said, you can call me on 08023622171, or also keep in a date with on this our website, richnigerianpharmacist.com. Our website will be coming up with very shortly about the seminar. You also need to focus into this, so that you can learn how to overcome the challenges of marriage. And I'll also strongly advise you, go to YouTube. There's a seminar called A Tale of Two Brains. A Tale, T-A-L-E, of Two Brains, by Mark Grunger. Watch that video. It's about 2 hours. Watch the entire video. It's a relationship seminar. Watch other videos too by Mark Grunger. If you watch these videos, you can see a lot of mistakes you've been making, and how you've been shifting away from being the man that your wife admires to being a stranger living with a woman in that she sees, living with, making your wife see you as a stranger that she's just forced to cohabit with in a house with. Start to attend marriage seminars, read marriage books, and watch marriage seminars. Also learn to be active in the life of your children. I can tell you that if you don't do this, all your attention of the children will be transmitted to your wife, and that will also put more pressure on her. You also need to be active in the life of your children. Like I said, I'm the person who give my wife, the children, their bath. I take them to school every morning, and I attend all their school program. This way, your wife will see you as a caring. Every woman cherishes her children more than her husband. And the moment you start to give attention to the children, the moment she will also see you as somebody who is more useful to her, and start to appreciate you, and start to look up to you as the man of the house. The man that, yes, God has really blessed me with somebody who not only takes care of me, but also go out of her way to take care of the children. See, any woman, any mother will spend almost all her money on her children. That shows how much she cherishes her children. So it's your job too to also help her in that area, in raising of these wonderful children. And the next point is, be careful in changing the sweet name you give to your wife. Now, most men, when they start off in a marriage, have very wonderful names for their wives. But you find out that as the years go by, they start to leave off that name and start to move into a generic name. A man might start off in a relationship with a baby for his wife, our darling. But the more they go on, maybe 5 years, 6 years down the line, just Mama John, Mama this. And you find out that without him knowing it, he's moving away from the endearment stage into making her a generic one. Then why do I say this? If you look at when God gave Adam his wife, he looked at her and said, this is the bone of my bone, the flesh of my flesh, she will be called woman. Woman means this is somebody dear to me. So, and all along he was calling, oh, woman, somebody very close to me. But immediately they were chased out of the garden. The first thing that Adam did was to change the name of his wife from woman to Eve, meaning mother of the world. Be careful of the name you change for your wife. Immediately we got married, I started to call my wife Baby Schools, and even up to this moment, 6 years down the line, that is the name I've maintained for her. You know, the loss of the name, endearment name, is a very gradual thing. It's not something you do deliberately. But because for me personally, because I have read about this part in the Bible, and I did not want to make any mistake about it, I need to consciously remind myself about that name. You too need to look at yourself. Is there a name that you've been calling your wife, a name that has made her so, makes her feel so, puts the bad smile on her face when you people just got married, and gradually, without you knowing it, you have moved out to her own personal name, or you've just gotten a generic name for her? I tell you, you've made a mistake that are making her look at you and start to look at, where is the man that God has given me? Look at that name that God gave you to you and go back to that name. And also think that one of the worst things that Adam did was not letting go of the mistakes. Because after after when the mistake was made, Adam did not forgive the woman of the mistake. And you know, yes, what had happened, and this woman was looking up to the husband to let go of certain things that had happened, but he still maintained on those things and did not realize that there are mistakes that somebody would have made, and no matter how bad it is, you should let go. And because of that, she waited for him to make the change. He did not. And that was why he had to look at her son to say, okay, now God has given me a man. And she had moved her attention from her husband to her child. I need to tell you that you too need to realize that no matter the mistake a woman has made in the family, there are certain things you just need to say, yes, let bygone be bygone. Because I'm saying this because most times when I discuss with some of my clients or some of the people I mentor, I find people holding on to, mistakes that their wife made years ago, and they are still holding on to these mistakes. It's time for you to let go. The moment you let go of these mistakes, the moment you can bring back the joy in your family, that's the moment you start to restore some of those things, that the happy moments that you cherish and you and your family cherish in your relationship. It's important for you, and especially important for the woman. You too have made certain mistakes, and she has looked at you and overlooked some of those mistakes. Also look at your life, analyze it. Whatever mistake you feel that she has made, it's time for you to let go of those mistakes and start to move forward. Move ahead in life and let her know that those things are her past. Everybody has some mistakes. And if you don't let go of those mistakes, it will get to a point you say, I need to check out of this marriage. Look at, no matter the mistakes, a lot of marriages are having serious challenge because the man has not been able to let go of some serious mistakes the wife made in the past. Start now to let go. Personally, there are certain mistakes my wife made in the past that I need to look at them and I just abandon them. You too also need to let go. Sometimes you say, I don't understand you. Look at this certain thing. You just forgotten them like that. I say, they are gone, they are gone. You too also need to let go so that you can build a formidable marriage. Now, there are a lot of things we can go on and on, but I believe that I've been able to share certain things that are important for your marriage. It's important for you to start to rebuild your marriage. It's important for you to start to build a relationship so that your wife can start to also see you as the woman, as the man that God has given her. So that she doesn't start to look out to other people and look at your children and look at other things and say, looking at them as the man that God has given to her. Start to build back your relationship. Start to work on that relationship. There's no reason for any marriage to be suffering now. I can tell you that within the first 3 years of my marriage, it was like passing through hot fire. But you had to go to a stage I need to say, man, I need to make this thing work. And I started to make certain adjustments. That is part of the things I'll be sharing during the conference, during the seminar on what the lessons I've learned in the business of marriage. You too also need to look at these certain things. So that for those of you who are, especially those who are in Lagos, even if you're outside Lagos, I strongly advise you attend this seminar so that we can look at the way that the challenges you are making, learn from other people, also come to hear things that can help you to improve your family, improve your marriage. And with that, I believe that God will transform you. So for those of you, like I said, I want to share the phone number you can keep on contacting me on, 080-2362-2171. Thank you once again for listening, and God bless you.